Hello, today's video is part 5 of a property tour series where I bring you around to different parts of our property and show you different strategies that I've implemented for white-tailed deer. I hope you enjoy today's episode, find it informative. I'll have both drone footage and a boots on the ground approach to showing you different things that I've done over the years to try and improve our hunting property. If during the video you have any questions, comments, suggestions, ideas, we would all love to hear them. As always, it is a great day to be outdoors. Right now I'm at the top of the Clearcut and I came across an area where the farmer slid down with the combine because she was too greasy and the beans haven't been picked here. So we got a couple of things going on here and I'm going to remember this spot for shed hunting for sure. It's not a lot of beans, but it's something, and they're still on the pod. And over here we have a south facing slope and I've planted it full of apple trees. I'm going to take you in here in just a second. I have never found an antler here, but I know I will one day. You know, my goal is to, I find antlers every now and then, but like consistently find antlers on my own property. So I'm going to walk you into this part of the Clearcut next, just because I want to show you some of the work I've done with apple trees. And you know, this Clearcut's surrounded by ag right now, and a good idea, or something that I always ask for, maybe it's not a good idea, I ask for an apple tree every year for Father's Day. I just think that's a cool gift, and it's kind of me, planting trees. And so if you want to have a gift idea for that special someone, or ask for something, ask for an apple tree and then plant it, and then maybe one day it'll give you something back. So I was just standing out there filming into here. This is the south facing slope on top of the Clearcut, and I just wanted to zoom in on some of these apple trees that I've either planted or transplanted. And the Siberian crab apples are a tree I will swear by. Now I'm panning, you cannot see this, but I got a cage that's been destroyed by a critter, deer, bear, who knows. I'll have to fix that one at some point. That won't be today. But these right here, this right here is a Siberian crab, and it was transplanted from somewhere else. So even handled being transplanted, kind of a dry summer. And the one thing I would do with this tree as it's leaning towards the side of the cage is I would run a stick in there to try and put the trunk in the middle and get it a little bit more square. But I think this tree will probably bear fruit next year. Another little one behind it there, you can kind of see the top of the T-post. In the background you can see a miracle tube, and then a bunch more over this way. And this kind of reminds me of our land down in Blair, or the area I used to hunt in Blair. They loved hitting those apple trees. And another, why not put the food right next to where they might bed and shed? I know that there might be some errors with this in terms of getting them to move around, but in terms of holding them and then hunting around it, that was my idea with this. So another crab apple tree, and this one actually has little tiny apples on it. So hey, I'll be danged, they don't have to be big. So yeah, they are bearing fruit. And I know I have some bigger trees that I bought at Menards, and so, or Farm and Fleet, so I'll show you those in a minute too. So let's pan around to see the cages. Well, there's the down cage, and I'm guessing this was one of the bigger trees. It's probably that tree right there. You can see by the orange T-post. So that's going to require some attention. Just wanted to pan over to this awesome deer trail going into the Clearcut. Another crab apple tree down there. And then kind of a serendipitous find is, I planted thornless honey locust out here before and must have missed a couple tubes, and so I'll pull that tube out and put it someplace safe so I can reuse it. And there's actually 2 more up there that I will do that as well. This tree in the middle of the frame right now, another Siberian crab, has berries on it. I'm going to go over to that, take a picture of as well. I'm trying to show more of my personality in these videos, and I'm watching these clips too, or these videos as well, and I'm trying to help you learn who I am. And So I'm just gonna say, you know, I was walking around through here and I'm like, man, this area is kind of beddy and sheddy. So, you know, I know you probably all know what a deer bed looks like, but you know, we got a nice deer bed here. This whole area is full of deer beds. Kind of a neat thing about my property is you got these old relics. This is another hay loader, cool as heck. Big giant cherry trees right there. But yeah, beddy and sheddy. That's my term for today with this land right here, this spot right here. And I know I'm gonna find a shed someday. Also, no, I'll tell you, you know, having boys that are into this too, I do struggle, but I always let my boys have at this spot first. I really want them to find their own antler. And I don't know if you can see this line of rubs on the, I think these are sumac, but you know, clearly this is a staging area and a rutting area. So I have a close-up view of some Siberian crab apples. They're clearly not very big, but they're fruit and they're a hardy tree. They're a zone 3 tree, and we're in zone 4. Buddy of mine, great buddy of mine, smart dude, Dave Gerber, always says you got to go a zone lower, or so like zone 3 trees for zone 4, and this is proof, I'd say. And I don't know how old this tree is, but it's been transplanted, and you know, you get enough of these on the ground, you got food for a lot of different critters, you know, grouse, pheasants, deer. So I think they probably do get bigger than this, but all the same, again, if volume, that's all that really matters. And hopefully there's some seeds right there. They start to reseed as well, maybe take over some of the other non so desirable species. Yeah, one more clip here of a caged Siberian crab apple tree, again bearing fruit, again transplanted here, which now that I know that, maybe I can start them in one spot, keep an eye on them, and then transplant them to another. You know, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, like taking advantage of the barnyard. These berries are a little bit different, a little bit more stout, a little bit redder in color. So maybe this tree's a little bit further along. It's really hard to say, but again, not giant berries, but food none the same. So, and again, I mentioned in a previous clip about having things reseed themselves. So this is 5-foot welded wire with 2 T-posts, and the height of this tree is 7 feet. I'm gonna leave this cage on for rubbing for now, you know, and then maybe 3 years from now I just take this off, 4 years from now, or whenever I get time, and then just cycle them back through again, the frugal, efficient side of me. So what I have in this one is a regular apple tree, and I can just tell, well, for one, it's gonna grow a lot slower, but I don't know, 5 or 6 foot woven wire, welded wire for this one. And then, you know, the tree right in the middle, and the buds are doing fine. So this tree's doing fine. Now remember, with apple trees, you also have to have cross pollinators. And so I know there are other ones planted out here, but I don't know if any of them made it. I'm guessing that that cage right there was one, and that tree is still alive, but I don't have time. That's not the point of today, so it's gonna have to be what it's gonna be for now. Right now we're at a little outcropping of field. There is bedding area on the Clearcut. I have apple trees planted in there, crab apples. This is above the hex, above the Clearcut. Years past, I've paid the farmer to leave this little outcrop full of whatever he had planted, corn or whatever. And now we are above the planting of all the different oak species, and I'm gonna take you there on my way out. I'm gonna have to call this a day. We actually have a family Christmas with some of the best prime rib you'll ever have. So my father-in-law, if you're watching this, that's a shout out to you, man. I cannot wait to gorge myself on that. But this is part of ag right now, and this is an option for different reasons to, you know, keep it ag, but then also do something with it. Clearcut behind it. And then over here is where I had the buckthorn removal as part of my habitat stewardship program with the NRCS project. And so I took a lot of buckthorn out of here. that tree right there, which I'm going to go into next, is where I have the bow stand. It's a clump of basswoods above the cattle walk. So I'll be going there in just a sec, and then ending our tour, or going next on the tour down below. Right now we're walking up the field access road, another tractor road, and it is kind of hard to see, but there are pines planted along here. They're a little rough and it's very, very sandy on this hillside, but the idea would be for screening to access one of our permanent hunting blinds. And so, you know, I probably have other clips of this, and I know I have a video and some drone footage of flying up to this hexagon. We call it the hex, but you know, I'm trying to block off access so that you can get in and out of here without being super detected. I also think that pines provide some kind of scent cover, you know, because they're so thick, and you know, they're pretty effervescent too. So along this side past this gate, it's all pines as well. Most of them transplanted from a property that was hit really hard by a tornado, but then has a lot of regeneration going, where they're too clumped up and they're not all going to make it. So thinning them, and also serving me a purpose over here, and just have this beautiful view of the creek bottom below you. You know, there's a lot of different things we're doing down there, planting red osier dogwood, trying to create a funnel. And then I'll be planting different species of oaks this coming spring, and I'll be bringing that to you as well. Right now we're looking south towards the Clearcut. I'm going to take you on a trail that I cut through the Clearcut that purposely comes out 20 yards from the hexagon stand, a permanent stand for a potential bow shot, and also allows you a shot to this ladder stand. Now, ladder stand that is at or below the elevation of a deer's eyesight is very challenging, to say the least, to hunt out of, and there aren't a lot of trees here, but this is kind of a neat spot, so that's why this is here. You'll see a food plot in the background, and then I have a trail mode for deer travel routes below this as well. So just some different forms of habitat or deer movement manipulation. Here's our big main bottom field, which again, my goal ultimately would be to be something else. And then we're going to take our journey through the Clearcut. It's a little windy today. I'm sorry if that wind gets picked up in here. We'll get into the Clearcut a little bit more, and you'll see that should dampen the wind pretty good. But just an idea to give you how thick this is. Traveling through here, you know what holds deer. So right now we're going up hill to the south east, and then, as with all my trails, I'll make some pretty steep jogs. There's a quick view back towards the hex. I actually just jumped a couple of deer. I wish I would have kept filming, but we are 50 yards from the hex and you can barely make it out. So just an idea, you know, the regen from the popples, and you know, deer find their way through this. They bed in it. They love it, actually. So we don't hunt this, and we try not to have our scent blow anywhere near it while we're hunting. And we try to make this just like most of our property, all deer all the time. We're up towards the top of the Clearcut now. I have different footage of, there is a kind of hidden southwest exposure bedding area that I've planted a bunch of apple trees in, and we're going to take a hard turn to the south right now. Old hay loader in the background. I actually kind of want to get those out of there. I think anything unnatural is one more thing that might stress a deer out, but they're kind of a relic of days gone by out here, and they're really neat, and also going to be really hard to get out of there, so maybe not. So here's where the trail is going to turn towards the south for a while, and then again meander, and then again back the way we came, and now the hex is not visible at all. We're still on the trail in the Clearcut. We're kind of in the belly of the beast right now. We're also at one of my favorite hay loaders. I just want to take a quick shot of this one. I think this was made by prisoners in Minnesota. I think that's the story behind it. And I'm probably going to save this where it says Minnesota on it. I think it's cool. Now, I don't live in Minnesota, but I mean, it's a cool part of history, especially if I could figure out a way to just get a cut of angle iron for the other side. I like to make stuff out of the relics out here. So we're about to go up one of two ridges in here. Beautiful, beautiful ridges. You know, probably a great spot for a buck to bed. They did leave some hardwood trees for me in here. No way you could get a stand in here, and I wouldn't want to hunt this spot anyway because you're kind of getting towards the middle of the property. But we'll climb up this first ridge and I'll take another clip and then show you the exit. I'm up on a ridge in the middle of the Clearcut right now, and it gives you a really great view of what's going on. I bumped my third set of deer too. I'm just not able to walk and film and hunt, and I'm not hunting, but do all that at once. But it's pretty windy. I don't know if you can, it's picking up in the microphone, but another thing that this does is provide, I'd say, thermal cover, wind cover. Down here is a depression that the deer love to travel out of into the main field. Up here is a turkey bedding area, turkey roosting area. Turkeys don't bed. It's kind of fun to watch them roost up in here, and you know, that added cover benefits the turkeys as well, and I think trails do too. It gives them more of a sense of security, and they want to stick around. So we're heading this way next. You probably can't even make out the trail. This is not a four-wheeler trail. This is just to steer the deer, or deer steer trail, and then back the way we came from, just to give you an idea that it is subtle. This is what you want, I would think, for deer. In the bottom of the valley at the Clearcut, pretty dang open down in here. Still good cover, but one of the things that I might do down here, if I can remember, I got a lot of projects and a lot of things I'd like to work on, would be maybe a couple more oaks, or not oaks, pines, even a cedar or two, just for some different species of trees. Jeff Sturgis talks about monocultures, and I guess a clear cut of popples might be considered one, even though we do have some big giant white pines and other species. But it'd be kind of neat to get a couple cedars or something to grow down in here. Probably pretty hard to do because, you know, you got an area that is a sanctuary for deer, and then, you know, they're not going to leave them alone. But this would be a spot where you could potentially cage a couple pine trees, get them to grow just something a little bit different in this big giant clear cut, and then maybe a shed spot, you know, because they like to bed underneath those cedars. So just an idea. This kind of a neat clip, looking back to the north the way we came from, looking back towards a ridge, and you know, just a good view of what we have going on here. And all right, we're walking out of the clear cut now, and we're walking towards an area called the Narrows. I'll show you why in a minute. It's a narrow section of field, but we have this trail, or I have this trail exiting where it is because I have a bow stand across the Narrows, and would love to manipulate a shot of them coming out of the clear cut into the Narrows, and then giving me that perfect mid 20-yard range shot. So just about there. We're going straight south again. We were going west. Here comes the Narrows. There's the bow stand and a clump of basswoods. And you know, you got 15-yard shot, and then I have a cutty link right there and a mock scrape. So that's this setup, because on this side of the Narrows, that's our property boundary, so we can walk right down. If we have a west or northwest wind, we're not blowing scent into anything. Right now we're in the Narrows looking to the west. The very back of the frame is a food plot right where you see that greener grass. There was a rifle box there from the previous owners, kind of a fort type thing that I got rid of right away because it was really in rough shape. Haven't done anything with that because, again, that's the middle of the property. Don't really know how to get there successfully without causing too much of a ruckus. This is what I would call our middle woods, our best woods. It's kind of a funnel just because of cover between big chunks of woods if you look on a aerial. And we logged this pretty hard too, not as hard as other places, and we leave all this alone too. I'll be referencing this throughout different clips. In the background there's a hidden field, we call that, because it's a field in the middle of the property, and love that field for obvious reasons. It's corn this year. And then now we're panning towards the east, and that is our corner right there between us and the neighboring property with an access trail that we'll be going down in a second. Now looking straight east up towards what was a mixed hardwood popple stand, logged very aggressively, and then back towards the Clearcut. And this never produces much in the way of ag. They always plant it because it's access between the top and bottom fields, but it's kind of a neat rut scrape line area, and the basswood makes for a great hidden stand. That's a primal tree stand. It's a 22 footer. And one of the things with logging is that stand was there first, so they left it alone. They left that clump alone. They wouldn't cut a tree down that has a stand in it. And so I waited a couple years to log after we started hunting so I could figure out where I kind of wanted the stands. So we're gonna end this tour like I like to do by going over the Google map with you. And here's an overlay of where we've been, starting with property tour number 1. You can find my cursor traveling along the north line. Then property tour 2, property tours 3 and 4 worked on the Oak Island. And then today for the property tour, we ended up in the Clearcut. And we started up here with the south-facing slope, the apple tree planting. And then I kind of wrapped us around right to about here. And then I ended that and then started going down and in through the main trail. So just going to zoom in a little bit here and remind you of where we were. I'll also explain some of these different colors too. So second part of the tour, we walked down this trail, it meanders back around, and you can see that there are fields on both sides of this Clearcut, and then here's our narrows. So different ideas, again, habitat improvements, more edge, habitat pockets, food plots that are segmented off by screening, apple plantings, and then just going to zoom back out again. This is an existing plot, and this is an existing plot, and this one I'm not so sure is going to stay. This one I think will stay. And so we ended up our tour right here today, and I mentioned the Narrows Woods and then the back 40 down here. The next place I plan on taking you is actually the Cattle Walk, and it won't be as long as this one, but it still has some things that I have to share with you. I was going to try to do that as part of this tour, and it just got to be too long. So this light blue is a CRP or CSP oak planting. This is the oak planting I have to do this upcoming year. So look for this coming soon, and then we'll head our way south and then wrap our way back around to finish this whole thing up. So as always, thank you for watching this, and I hope you enjoyed this map as part of the tour too, and look forward to giving you the next one. Well, thank you for watching today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it and found it informative. I am enjoying bringing these episodes to you. Right now, as I'm filming this would be part 5, so parts 1 through 4 should already be out there. There will probably be a couple more installments to this series. Thank you for your comments, your suggestions, and your support of my channel. As always, it is a great day to be outdoors.